You know, every single business, from a tiny local shop to a massive global corporation, has a financial heart. It's the system tracking every penny coming in and every penny going out. But what happens when that heart becomes a target for a cyber attack? Okay, let's get into it.
And look, this isn't just some what-if scenario. This stuff is real. Back in 2019, Wolters Kluwer, and get this, they provide software to 93% of the Fortune 500. They got hit. And the attack didn't just leak some data. No, it literally paralyzed accounting firms. They just couldn't work. It was a massive, massive wake-up call for the entire industry. So it's really easy to just say, oh, the system got hacked. But what does that actually mean? To really get a handle on the risk here, we've got to dig a little deeper. What is this critical system at the very core of the business? And why is it so vulnerable? Okay, so the main target here is something called the Accounting Information System. You'll hear it called the AIS, and let me tell you, in the world of business technology, the AIS, well, it's the crown jewels. It's everything. Now, when you hear AIS, don't just picture a piece of software you buy off the shelf. It's so much bigger than that. It's the whole shebang, the people, the procedures, and the software, all working together. It takes all that raw data, every sale, every purchase, every paycheck, and it transforms it into the official financial reports that companies have to file by law. And that's the key thing to remember. A company's got all sorts of systems, right? For marketing, for operations, for whatever. But the AIS, that's the one. It's the ultimate source of truth. It's the system that talks directly to the government, to the regulators. The paper we're looking at calls it the very top of the information pyramid, and that is exactly what it is. So what's it actually doing all day? Well, it manages the 5 fundamental cycles of pretty much any business. How you get money, how you spend it, how you pay your people, how you make your stuff, and how you bring in revenue. Every single financial move a company makes, it flows through one of these cycles. And because this system is so critical, you better believe it is heavily regulated. You've probably heard of laws like the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, or SOX. That came about after those huge accounting scandals, like Enron. And what SOX does is it makes the CEO and the CFO personally liable for the accuracy of these numbers. We're talking serious penalties. So, yeah, the stakes couldn't be higher. Now, if the AI has just lived in its own little sealed-off box, securing it would be, pretty straightforward. But that's just not reality, is it? Not in today's world. The AI is almost never on its own. And that's where things start to get really complicated and really risky. The truth is, your accounting system is plugged into, well, pretty much everything else. It's constantly pulling data, pushing data, creating this giant interconnected web. Just look at this. The AIS is right there in the middle, like the hub of a massive wheel. And it's talking to everything, your cloud storage, your analytics platforms, payment processors, you name it. The researchers call this tangled web a system of systems. And that complexity, that's exactly where the danger is hiding. It's a really simple equation when you think about it. The more connections you have, the more risk you have. Every single one of those links, no matter how useful it is also another potential door for an attacker to kick in. So the big question is, how on earth do you secure a mess like that? Well, this research proposes a really clear, simple way to think about it. It's called the attack surface methodology. And the idea behind it is just common sense, really. The more ways there are for an attacker to get in, the less secure your system is. It's that simple. So the whole game is to shrink that target, to make that surface as small as you possibly can. So what is an attack surface? It's basically the sum of all the possible ways in and out of your system. And a great way to think about it is like this. Every API, every login page, every user account, it's a digital doorway into your company. Some are locked tight, sure, but others might be wide open. And this just lays it out perfectly, right? A system with a small attack surface has fewer entry points, it's more tightly integrated, and, no surprise, it's way more secure. On the flip side, a large attack surface means tons of entry points, a sprawling mess, and a whole lot less security. It's really just about reducing the number of fronts you have to defend. But here's where this paper gets really clever. It takes this attack surface idea and blows it up to cover that entire system of systems we talked about. It's not just about one door into one system. It's about how a single breach can tip over a whole line of dominoes. And to do that, they say we need to think about risk in 3 new dimensions. Okay, first up, interconnectedness. That's pretty simple. It's just about mapping out how many links exist between all your different systems. Second, we have transmission. This measures how easily a threat can jump from one system to the next. And third, and this is the one that should keep you up at night, is amplification. This is the absolute nightmare scenario. It's when a tiny little breach doesn't just jump systems, it grows. It gets stronger as it spreads, setting off a chain reaction, a cascading failure that could bring the whole network down. All right, so this all sounds pretty serious. What can you actually do about it? How can you take this methodology and use it to shrink that bullseye on your company's back?
Well, it all starts with a clear-eyed assessment. First, you've got to map it all out, your AIS and every single system it talks to. From there, you literally have to identify every single one of those digital doorways. The paper also suggests looking for ways to smartly integrate systems, which can actually get rid of unnecessary connections. And finally, you have to prioritize protecting the AIS itself above all else. Never forget, it's the crown jewels.
And that really just leaves us with one last critical question to think about. When it comes to your own business, how many digital doorways have you left unlocked? And do you even know where all the doors are in the first place?